Back to School with KLBK.
Coming up over the next half hour, we're going to take a look at everything you need to know heading back to school this fall. And if you haven't gotten those school supplies, what to be on the lookout for when you're at the store.
Plus, we hear from the superintendents of Lubbock's Big Three school districts how they hope 2021-2022 will pan out.
But first, how a pandemic of the unvaccinated is worrying parents with kids too young to get the shot. Good evening, I'm Terry Furman.
And I'm Matt Still. School is just a week away for our kids across the South Plains. But what is this year going to look like as COVID infections, especially those Delta variant in our children, become much more prevalent?
KLBK's Grace Morris spoke to a few local pediatricians about concerns surrounding the Delta variant.
Textbooks, notebooks, pens, and pencils, those are probably items that are on that school supply list. And they may already be packed up in your child's backpack this year.
Yeah, but doctors say carrying all that weight can actually hurt them. So how do you pack your kid's bag? It's not a problem one expects in youth.
If you have a child that weighs 100 pounds, the backpack should only weigh 10 pounds.
If your child is carrying more than 20% of their weight on their back, studies have shown that it can cause a multitude of health issues. The first thing, make sure your child uses both straps.
Over time, it creates poor posture. It can cause shoulder pain, back pain. If you don't have the thicker straps and you have little thin straps, it can actually cause nerve damage and affect the blood flow to the arm.
How the back is packed can also lead to pain. Heaviest things like books should be closest to the back. Lighter items like notebooks or a pencil box go up front.
A backpack should fit evenly on the child. It should not extend past their torso or past their shoulders. It also should only fall at their waist, like in the lower curve of their back. It should not go further than 4 inches from their waist.
Parents should also go through your child's backpack to make sure they're not being overloaded. Does develop back pain, have them rest and take a day or two off of physical activity. Get them to stretch and take some ibuprofen. Now, if the pain persists over a period of weeks, go see your doctor.
There's still some time to get to the store if you haven't gotten your child's school supplies yet, but be prepared for a little sticker shock at the register this year. Industry experts say when COVID shut down the country, the supply chain was also put on hold, and that's why prices are considerably high. Retailers are still trying to get back to normal, and the National Retail Federation expects parents of K through 12 students to spend $37.1 billion in back-to-school supplies, up more than $3 billion from last year.
They're having to pay for air freight versus shipping cargo in order to get things here on time. Those costs in terms of actually transporting goods, that has been a major concern for many of the retailers we've talked to.
So it breaks down to just about $848 per household on supplies, including electronics. Families with kids heading to college are expected to spend a little over $1,000 in supplies.
And this weekend, a local organization is working to help families with those things that many may take for granted, like school supplies and backpacks. Lubbock Dream Center hosting their annual back-to-school bash to get those important items to kids.
Now, the bash will be a drive-through event again this year with 3 time slots to choose from. You must register the number of children you'll have with you, and they all have to be with you when you're picking up those backpacks. The event, which is happening Saturday, is only for kindergarten through 8th graders.
The city of Lubbock has also worked to put together some hygiene bags full of goodies to help during the school year. Those will be available to pick up at the back-to-school bash. There is still some time to donate to that. You can head on over to the health department to drop off products until August 13th if you'd like to help.
And Eastside Unity is hosting an Eastside Family Reunion Back to School Fest also this Saturday. It'll start with a parade from Estacado to May Simmons Park. They'll have some great free food, backpack, and also some more school supplies to give away. The group says there will be plenty of family fun, including bouncers, domino games, and even a little basketball. We hope we've got you ready for back to school. If you've joined us a little later, maybe you want to watch parts of our special, just head to our website, everythinglubbock.com.
We'll see you back tonight.
Big Switch. Now your host, KLBK's Terry Furman and Matt Stell.
Coming up, we are less than 2 weeks from the big switch. So what does that mean for your bills, and when can you expect lights out at your house?
Plus, the massive failure of the ERCOT grid back in February. A look at the much-needed changes state officials have made so far.
But first, find out why Lubbock is switching to ERCOT in the first place. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us here for the Big Switch to ERCOT special. I'm Terry Furman.
And I'm Matt Stell. If you're a Lubbock Power and Light customer, you got to listen up. For the next 30 minutes, we'll go over all that you need to know and can expect about the big switch to the ERCOT grid.
As we get closer to Memorial Day weekend, many of you might be wondering why this big switch to ERCOT is even happening as we move from the Southwest Power Pool over to the state's main grid.
KLBK's Grace Morris joins us now. Grace, how did this whole switch come about in the first place?
Terry and Matt, to get the full story, you actually have to go back around 17 years. You see, right now, LP&L buys all its power from Xcel Energy, which is connected to the Southwest Power Pool. But in 2004, that was the last time LP&L signed a contract with Xcel, which is set to expire in 2019. And in those 15 years, LP&L began to take a look to see if staying in the Southwest Power Pool was the best thing for Lubbock.
A big question for a lot of you all out here is, what is this going to do to our power bills?
Yeah, LP&L tells us that Lubbock ratepayers won't see the full savings of the move until 5 years from now. That's because LP&L has to pay $22 million each year for the first 5 years, which will get credited to the customers to alleviate the cost of the integration. But LP&L tells us that making the switch will produce substantial cost savings for the customer over time.
There's a payment that our customers make that goes as basically a subsidy or an additional payment to people that build power plants in the Southwest Power Pool. The problem is that because of the rules in the Southwest Power Pool, our folks can't access any of that power. Where in ERCOT, you can buy from anybody in the market, and they don't have that subsidy charge. And so that comes to about $40 million a year that our customers will no longer be paying as we enter the market.
It down. If a customer is using 500 kilowatts per hour, they'll see about an 8% savings, and the savings go up. If a customer uses 2,000 kilowatts per hour, they can expect to save about 9%.
I hope you guys have got some really good information tonight on the big switch. For everything you've seen here tonight and more, you can head to our website, everythinglubbock.com, and click the big switch banner.
For sure. For news anytime, follow us on social media. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.